Hello everyone, welcome to a very special object talk. My name is Maria and I'm the Collections Officer here at the Jewish Museum London. Starting tomorrow, communities and people throughout the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth come together to celebrate a historic milestone, Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee. In today's talk, we will explore objects related to past celebrations of royal events, including jubilees and coronations. The Jewish Museum London is honoured to be under the patronage of the Prince of Wales and to hold in our collection a number of objects that tell the story of the relationship between the royal family and the British Jewish community. Before we start looking at some of these objects, let's dig deeper into what this Jubilee commemorates and why it is such a special occasion. So Queen Elizabeth is the first British monarch to celebrate Platinum Jubilee, meaning she has accomplished 70 years of service. Officially, February 6, 1952 was the date on which the Queen acceded to the throne on the death of her father, King George VI. It wasn't until June 2, 1953 that the Queen's coronation took place in Westminster Abbey. The first date is a period of reflection for the Queen, whereas the second one is one of celebration. And so the main Platinum Jubilee celebrations will therefore begin this Thursday and extend up until Sunday. To celebrate, here at the Jewish Museum, we have decided to look at some important objects celebrating past jubilees and royal celebrations, as I've already mentioned. I will now share my screen to have a look at the first object. So this is an invitation card to a Jubilee Ball that took place in July of 1897. This event was held at the Guildhall and it celebrated the Diamond Jubilee of Queen Victoria, who reigned from 1837 to 1901. It was hosted by the Corporation of the City of London and chaired by Sir George Fodell Phillips, who was the son of a wealthy Jewish merchant and Lord Mayor at the time. The colourful card is decorated with scenes from the reign of Queen Victoria, and it's part of a group of objects donated to the museum. When we first look at this card, there is a lot going on, a lot of symbols and scenes that perhaps not everyone would be able to recognize. An elaborate depiction of these scenes is actually provided in another object, which we can see here. This edition makes the card much more accessible to everyone. This paper describes how two portraits of the Queen on the left-hand side of the card are the main feature, one portraying her at the year of her coronation, and the other one inspired by a miniature that had recently been presented to the Emperor of China. The royal arms can be seen at the top, with Buckingham Palace on one side and Windsor Castle on the other. The other scenes around represent important moments during the Queen's reign, including her coronation and her wedding to Prince Albert. All of these details and the inclusion of the description make this card quite a remarkable object, one that maybe people wouldn't want to part ways with. In reality, although this is an invitation card, it was meant to be kept more as a souvenir. And another object, part of this donation, explains this, as we can see now on the screen. These are instructions and information about the event, including time of admission, what time the dancing started, and also the dress code. The colourful invitation that we saw first is referred to as a large ticket, and as we can see, it's meant to be kept more as a memento of the occasion. This means the holder of the card was not supposed to bring it to the dance. The other object that is referred in these instructions is the admission coupon, and this would be the one you would take to the dance, hence why it wasn't donated with the other ones, and we don't keep it in our collection. These objects relate to one ball, but there were at the time a large amount of dances and parties to celebrate Queen Victoria's Diamond Jubilee. And this year, there are equally numerous events to celebrate Queen Elizabeth, including street parties, concerts, exhibitions, and parades. Of course, we don't have any objects in our collection connected to celebrations just yet, but we do have items related to Queen Elizabeth's reign that go all the way back to her coronation in 1953. And one of them is this order of service meant to be used in London synagogues in celebration of the coronation. So this booklet is both in English and Hebrew, as you can see, and at the bottom it reads, to be recited in all synagogues on Shabbat, 30th May 1953/5713, or on the day of the coronation, Tuesday, 2nd June 1953, 5713. The number 5713 refers to the Hebrew year. At the back, the national anthem is printed in both languages. If we have a look inside the booklet, we can see how the sermon gives thanks to the Queen and wishes her a long and prosperous reign. It reads, "And happy are we, the children of Israel, who dwell in safety under our shadow, that we share in a royal acclamation." This emphasizes that the Jewish community is fortunate to be part of the Queen's reign. The next page extends the blessings to all members of the royal family, particularly naming the Duke of Edinburgh and the Queen Mother, and of course, Prince Charles. At the end of the sermon, we have a specific prayer for the Queen and the royal family. This is a prayer for the good health and wise counsel of the sovereign that is included in most orders of service and can actually be seen repeated in many other examples in our collection. This one is an 1893 order of service for the reopening of the Princes Street Synagogue. And as we can see, it includes a prayer, this time for Queen Victoria, her son Albert Edward, Prince of Wales, and his wife Alexandra, Princess of Wales. This order of service isn't for an event related to the royal family, but this prayer is still included. And it has been a long-term part of synagogue services recited every Shabbat. The order of service we first saw for Queen Elizabeth's coronation was a supplementary prayer issued by the chief rabbi. This is a custom observed since the 19th century. And both of these demonstrate how the Jewish community in Britain is involved with the royal family, and the prayer itself is indicative of the relationship that Jews have had with ruling monarchs over the years. The last object I'm going to share with you is this certificate, issued to Miss Rita Rosenthal in 1936 by the Jewish National Fund. It certifies that one tree has been planted in by Rita in memory of her parents. The forest mentioned here was an initiative created to commemorate King George V's Silver Jubilee, marking 25 years of his reign, as we can see on the scroll that is on the left-hand side of the certificate. The scroll on the right side repeats this text in Hebrew. We can see at the bottom details about the specific certificate, including the number of trees and the reason for their planting. Then in the center is an image of a man showing two boys how to plant the trees, with a woman coming towards them holding 2 jugs of water. The background is a beautiful landscape with mountains and fields, and then the border of the certificate includes natural motifs with olives and palm branches, and also symbols such as Stars of David. At the top is, of course, a portrait of King George. The certificate demonstrates the extent of the involvement of the British Jewish community in royal celebrations and how it went beyond just parties and balls. All the objects we looked at today show us how joyful this relationship is, how an event such as a jubilee or a coronation is a moment that deserves to be celebrated and remembered by the community. The orders of service in particular extend this connection beyond these events into everyday life. Thank you so much for joining me today for this special talk. I hope you found it interesting to explore all these objects connected to the royal family. And please join us again next month for another talk on an object from the collection.